World champion Emanuel Lasker famously stated, "The hardest game to win is the one game." We can all relate to letting a great game slip out of our hands, and it even happens to the greatest chess players from time to time. In this position, Lasker himself proves how hard it can be to win a one game. White is down an incredible amount of material, but notice that Lasker's pawn on h7 is ready to promote into a queen on the next move. There doesn't seem to be any way Black can stop the promotion when the new queen gives all the winning chances to White. When you are in a winning position, it is easy to relax, get happy, and think that any move will win. This is exactly what you need to avoid to win the one game. You need to stay alert and look out for tactical chances until the very end of the game. In this position, Lasker has several ways to escape the rook checks. One idea is to play king f1. In an endgame, you usually don't want to cut your king off from the rest of the action, but here White is keeping the position as simple as possible to eliminate any tactical chances for the opponent. Black has only one sensible check with rook c1 check. And after king e2, rook c2 check, White can put an end to the rook checks with king d3. Sacrificing one pawn, but after rook takes g2 and h8 equals queen, White's queen now takes over the game, attacking Black's king, and will start collecting pawns. Black may have chances to draw with careful play, but now White is the only side playing for a win. Let's see what Lasker decided to play in the game. Lasker thought he could end Black's counterplay and win quickly after king g3, rook c3 check. Lasker can still repeat the position with king f2 and then try another course, but Lasker played king g4. Because after rook c4 check and king g5, White's king appears safe from any tactics, but it's important to remember that as you march your king closer to your opponent's forces, you always have to stay alert for tactical chances against your king. Lasker may have expected Black to resign, but believe it or not, it will soon be Lasker's turn to resign. Can you find Black's incredible move that wins the game? If you found rook h4, fantastic job. Black threatens to capture the h7 pawn, White's only hope to win the game, and after king takes h4, White's king is forced to the unfortunate h4 square, allowing Black to open up the g7 square for the king with g5 check. White's king is forced to deal with the check when after king takes g5, Black's king catches White's dangerous passed pawn with king g7. After defending against White's threat of promotion, Black's connected passed pawns on the queen side will win the game for Black. This was a pretty complicated example, but it shows us how many chances there are in a chess game and how easy it is to throw away a great position. Let's take a look at some more examples and learn how to win the one game. In this position, the material imbalance is between White's 2 rooks and 3 extra pawns versus Black's 3 minor pieces, which is definitely better for White. Notice Black's king is only protected by pieces, not pawns, so Black's king safety is also not great. With White to move, how do we win the one game? One very tempting move is queen h6, threatening checkmate on the next turn. If Black tries to block the g-file with a bishop or a knight on g6, White can trade one of the rooks for 2 minor pieces, simplifying the position to White's favor. If Black tries to protect the bishop with queen f8, White can simply win the knight with rook takes e5, taking advantage of the pinned bishop on g7. Everything looks great after queen h6, but notice we have only been looking at Black's defensive moves. Always remember to look for your opponent's active, forcing moves, as overlooking these moves can cause serious problems. Black has the very interesting option of knight f3 check. The knight checks White's king and discovers the Black queen's attack on the rook on g3. Since capturing with the rook would unpin Black's bishop and allow Black to win White's queen, White should play g takes f3. Black sacrificed the knight in order to play the surprising move queen takes g3 check, capturing the rook with check and unpinning the bishop on g7. White captures the queen with h takes g3. Capturing with the h-pawn keeps the king sheltered against the 2 bishops. After bishop takes h6 and rook takes e7, White's position is still winning, but Black's 2 bishops may cause problems for White, so Black still has some hope. In winning positions, we want to simplify our task as much as possible. Let's see if we can find an easier way to win this game. We mentioned the importance of looking for forcing moves your opponent can play, but don't forget to look at your own forcing moves as well. Can you find a forcing move for white that can simplify the position? In the game, white played rook takes g7 check. And after king takes g7, notice black's king is lined up on the same diagonal as the knight on e5. After queen d4, white is threatening queen takes e5, entering a simplified ending when white's rook and extra pawns should have no problems against black's bishop. If black tries to defend the knight with king f6, white can add more pressure to the pinned knight with f4. White is ready to play queen takes e5, trading queens, or if black moves the queen away first, black's exposed king will not survive long. White avoided unnecessary complications and soon won the game by trading down into a rook and several extra pawns versus bishop endgame. Let's take a look at one more example together. In this position, we join a tournament game that I was playing with the black pieces. Black is on the attack, and it looks like white's king is in serious trouble. If rook h1 check, white is forced to capture the pawn on g2, but it wasn't clear to me what to do next. I thought about bishop f3 to protect the g2 pawn first, but then I am simply dropping a bishop to the knight. Unfortunately, I didn't ask myself the follow-up question. What if I removed the knight first? Can you find the winning move that I missed? If you found the queen sacrifice queen takes e5, great job. By removing the knight that was protecting the f3 square, black not only is up a piece for the moment, but has an overwhelming attack. If white captures the queen with rook takes e5, after bishop f3, white's king is trapped, and rook h1 checkmate is unstoppable. I completely missed the winning queen sacrifice and simply played rook d to g8, preparing to play bishop f3 to threaten rook h1 checkmate. As expected, white played f3, attacking my bishop and opening up an escape square for the king on f2. I already missed one winning move, and now my opponent is starting to fight back. Here it is all too easy to start reacting to your opponent's play, and I almost retreated my bishop to f5. One of the keys to winning the one game is staying alert and keeping your pieces as active as possible. Why can't black capture the pawn on f3? Yes, the knight protects the square, but what happens then? After bishop takes f3, I saw through my opponent's aggression and realized there is nothing to fear. My opponent did not capture the bishop, but white's unprotected king did not survive long. If white played knight takes f3, let's practice winning the one game. After black plays rook h1 check and king f2, do you see a clear win? Before beginning to calculate these complications, stay on the surface. Is there a simpler move that prevents the white king from escaping to f2? That's right. Black can play queen g3. Now rook h1 checkmate is unstoppable. Now that you've learned the skills necessary to bring home the victory, can you win the one game? Let's see.